Hello, and welcome to a party election broadcast by the Bloke in the Pub. To help me with today's presentation, we're joined by leaders of the political parties. So we've got Theresa May Winnett, and we've got Jeremy Stormin, who's moving ahead in the polls. And to ensure balance, Tim Farron of the Lib Dems is represented by my hairline. There's obviously a little latent joke about recession there, so again, take that as you will. We've had a question from a viewer who's asked, how will the election affect my investments? And then, of course, because I'm not a politician, I'll actually answer the question. Why are we having an election? Well, Theresa May's called the election because she wants to get a bigger majority to be able to push her ideas for Brexit through Parliament. Also, she wants a clear 5-year run to get through the 2 years of negotiation and any transitional period thereafter. Now, what that's done to investments, the first thing is it's firmed up sterling, the value of sterling, which is an indication of how foreign investors feel about the British economy. And they're feeling a bit more confident because they view the UK as a gateway to Europe, and Theresa May's plans for Brexit, and in particular, a transitional period where we will still retain access to the EU and the single market, will remain intact. What we've also seen is that parts of the stock market, the smaller companies bit, which is mainly focused on the UK economy, that's gone up in value as well. So basically what we've got in investment markets at the moment is they are pricing in Theresa May and the Conservatives winning the election. Now, that said, storming up behind her is Jeremy Corbyn is closing in the polls. And we have to take into account what will happen if she doesn't get her majority or if Labour actually win. Now, if they do, Labour don't have such a clear policy on Brexit. So in their manifesto, they talk about that they want access to the free market, but they also want to control immigration. And these are two mutually exclusive ideas. And that could create some uncertainty about where we're going in the future. Markets don't like uncertainty. So we'd probably expect sterling to drop in value a little bit, overseas investors become a little bit less confident. And that would actually probably be good for the multinationals in the FTSE 100. We'd probably see the FTSE go up for a little while. What does it mean in the longer term? If you look at the manifestos, Labour is pretty much committed to higher taxation, particularly of companies, capping the wages of higher earners, and to the renationalisation of things like the railways and maybe some other industries as well. Now, post-Brexit, the question we have to ask ourselves is that going to be more or less attractive to companies, particularly from overseas, to come to the UK to work here? And the answer to that is probably no, because if I was an overseas investor, maybe to look at investing in Crossrail or something like that, I'm worried that it might be renationalised and my share price would drop, I probably simply wouldn't invest. So there's a possibility that that might not be particularly attractive. The Conservatives, on the other hand, are really committed to reducing our deficit. What that really means is balancing the national books and making sure we've got enough money, we're not spending everything we earn. And that's important because one of the models of post-Brexit is Norway. The idea being that Norway, which is not a member of the EU, buys access to the free market. The thing is with Norway, though, if you've ever been, which is a horrendously expensive country, is it is also the richest country in the world per capita. There's 12 Norwegians, I think, and they are extraordinarily wealthy. Hence, if you ever go there, a pint of beer costs you about 20 quid, something like that. But they can afford to buy in. And they can afford to buy in because they don't have a deficit. They've saved 25% of their money from oil and fish and all the other bits they make for the last 50 odd years and have huge reserves. So in order for us to buy our way into the single market, we're going to actually have to basically earn more than we spend. So we've got to reduce the deficit. Now, just from the perspective of balance, we also have to consider the positive aspects of the different manifestos as well. So a lot of Jeremy Corbyn's ideas for investing in social care, in healthcare and in infrastructure would have a very positive impact on society. Many of his initiatives are specifically designed to reduce inequality. And inequalities in society, the gaps between the richest and the poorest, tend to lead to higher levels of dissatisfaction, ill health in the poorest members of society, and high levels of crime, none of which are good for society. So lots of good laudable ideas there. Equally, while from an investor's perspective, reducing the deficit makes sense and increases our ability to buy our way into the single market, it will be delivered through austerity, which would tend to drive bigger gaps between those who have and those who don't, which might have a negative impact in the longer term as well. Final point is that, and make of this what you will, if you look back over every administration for the last, say, 100 years or so, and you look at returns on investments from the stock market, what you find is that on average, per annum, you get about 8% under a Labour administration, and you get about 16% under a Conservative administration. Make of that what you will, but you tend to make more money from your investments under a Conservative administration in the long run. Anyway, we'll know for certain on June the 9th, so tune in then for a little bit of cutting analysis on where we're actually going. Never mind debate. What we want is party leader deathmatch. Oh, we're still on?